על הצופים אשתה חבל הכפיים מעל פסקת הר הצופים שלום לך ירושלים בילדורו חלמתי עלייך לבכות לבכות לראות באור פנייך ירושלים ירושלים האירי פנייך לבנייך ירושלים ירושלים מחרבותייך אבנך ועל פסקת הר הצופים שלום לך ירושלים אלפי גולים מצוק כל תבל נושאים אלך עיניים אלפי ברכות העיר ברוכה דש מלך עיר מלוכה ירושלים ירושלים אני לא אזוז מפה ירושלים ירושלים יבוא המשיח יבוא ירושלים ירושלים יבוא המשיח יבוא
Shabbat Shalom. I think only Cantor Hochberg can sing with you at the end of that. It was a terrific melody, the harmony. Shabbat Shalom. It is it is Yom Yerushalayim, or Jerusalem Day. And so, hence Cantor opened with a song about Jerusalem. We are delighted to see everyone here on this rainy Shabbat. The weather in May has been very bizarre this year. So it is wonderful to welcome all of you and to welcome everybody who is joining us from home. We welcome you and are delighted that our sanctuary extends through the World Wide Web. And as we welcome in Shabbat, we turn to our blessings for candles and kiddush on page 120, first in our prayer books. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. And we welcome in the light and the warmth and the peace of Shabbat as we join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. And if you all turn, please, to page 123 here in our congregation. If you also have a Siddur, a Mishkan Tefillah in your possession online, please turn to page 123. And if all of you can stand, and if you cannot, please just think and raise yourselves to a higher plane of holiness as we engage in the Kedushat Hayom, the sanctification of this day. And rain, by the way, is a sign of good luck and prosperity. So hopefully we will have much of that over these 25 hours of the Shabbat. We sing together now the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodesho, be'ahavav ratzon, hinchilanu, zikaro lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tzechiro, likroe kodesh, zecher letziot mitzrayim, kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kirashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. And we say together, Shabbat Shalom to all of you. Shabbat Shalom, Kenner Akberg. And please be seated, L'chaim, to life.
This Shabbat is the Shabbat, and it was supposed to be confirmation if you saw that a few weeks ago, but it is not confirmation. Tomorrow morning, show up at 9:30. It's going to be an amazing service. We hope that you will join us for that confirmation service. But in May, typically in May, when we are observing on our yahrzeit list, and I honestly have to say I need to do the research on how we have this community on our yahrzeit list. But we have the Jewish community of Humana, Czechoslovakia, which you will hear later on our yahrzeit list, which they are on our scroll, our memorial wall. And we read of them, or at least their name, every year. We also have in our congregation a Holocaust scroll, a Czech Torah scroll, which we received in either 1979 or around 1980. We received this Torah scroll, and it has been a part of our congregation since. It actually does not belong to us. It is on loan to us from the Westminster Memorial Scrolls Trust in England. And one of the things that is our duty with having and housing this scroll is that each year we honor it and we focus on it. And over the past number of years, we chose to do so on that Shabbat when we are remembering the community of Humana, Czechoslovakia. Our Torah scroll, which one it is the very tall one, the top one in the back. It is probably a good almost 3 feet tall, that Torah scroll. And it is not as heavy as it looks, but if you are short like I am, to hold it is a little awkward. We don't know where this scroll is from, other than we know it is from Czechoslovakia. And so, because we remember the specific community of Humana tonight, so too do we remember our scroll. And each year we like to talk a little bit about the communities in and around Czechoslovakia, or talk a little bit about what we understand of the history, or what has sort of become the lore around these scrolls. And so I'm going to share a little bit tonight, which I have taken from the Westminster Trust information that they have. And so in thinking about Czechoslovakia, this area includes what was once known as Bohemia and Moravia, and Jews had lived there for more than 1,000 years. And as in most European countries, those communities were welcomed and expelled over the centuries, always a back and forth. Come in, no, we don't want you. Following the Munich Agreement of September 29, 1938, the Sudetenland was absorbed into Germany, and all of their Jews were expelled. Virtually all the synagogues and the ritual artifacts in that area, as in Germany, were actually totally destroyed during Kristallnacht, what we know of November 1938 pogrom. In March of 1939, the Nazis invaded Bohemia and Moravia, but they caused little destruction. There's a lot of different, wondering if it had to do with some outside things that they were trying to make sure didn't get destroyed. However, the Nazis immediately took over Jewish businesses and property, and they forced the congregations to close and forced the Jewish community administrations to enforce their demands and their decrees. In September of 1941, the Nazis banned the holding of Jewish services. And so for the Jewish community in Prague, there were instructions that were sent out or sent to them, which they then sent out, a Dr. Stein of the Jewish community in Prague, in 1942, sent instructions for all communities in Bohemia and Moravia to send their valuable Judaica to the Jewish Museum in Prague. This is a museum that it has been in existence since 1906. Members of Prague's Jewish community brought other religious treasures from the deserted communities and the destroyed synagogues to the museum. More than 212,000 artifacts were brought to this museum, and among them were about 1,800 Torah scrolls. Each item was meticulously recorded, labeled, and entered on a card index by the museum's staff, who were Jewish, with a description and the place it had come from. Once the work was finished, the workers were deported to concentration camps. For many years, it was believed that the Germans had intended to create a museum of an extinct race, although there are no documents to prove this. Following the war, first, according to the 1930 census, there were about 551,000 Jews in Bohemia and Moravia, 356,830 in all of Czechoslovakia. By 1943, about 26,000 had managed to emigrate. 82,000 were deported to Terezin and other camps, of whom 71,000 were murdered and another 7,000 prior to deportation. And today, the population of the Czech Republic is 10 million, with only 4,000 Jews. There had been at least 350 synagogues, but by the end of the war, more than 60 had been destroyed. And after only 3 years of freedom, then there was the communist coup on February 27, 1948, which amongst other things, took over the Jewish museum and warehouses, subsequently transferring those 1,800 Torah scrolls to damp warehouses and other such places. In February of 1964, Ralph Yablon, who was a London businessman, purchased 1,564 Torah scrolls. What were they going to do with all of these Torah scrolls? Over several months, a team of sofrim, of scribes, examined the scrolls to determine which scrolls were still kosher, meaning which ones could be used, which ones could be repaired or restored so that they could again be used, and which ones were just in such poor condition that they could only be used as part of a memorial. There's legend told of a knock on the front door of the synagogue, and Ruth Schaefer, who was the receptionist of that synagogue, opened the door, and there was an elderly Orthodox Jew who asked in Yiddish, "Do you have any Torahs to repair?" And her reply was, "We have 1,564. Come in." And so, on their website, you can learn the story of Sofer David Brand, who stayed to work on these rescued scrolls for 27 years. And he stayed in Britain, and his family was brought to join him from Jerusalem. And it is said that he was to be seen regularly at his work desk. He was at a window that gave him the best natural light, always welcoming in guests to show what he was doing. And he would talk with kids, show them how he made his ink, sharpened his quill pens, and lovingly attended to his sacred work. When asked how he felt as an Orthodox sofer, working on damaged Torah scrolls in a non-Orthodox environment, his reply was, "I was doing holy work." Westminster Synagogue in London, it's actually an independent synagogue. It is not affiliated with any official stream of Judaism, although on their website they will tell you that they are connected to the Reform Progressive. They are in line with that, but they are considered independent, and I think they do a whole lot of different things. So why these Czech scrolls? Once they were repaired to the best of their ability, the Westminster Trust decided that these scrolls could be on loan throughout the world to bear witness. They are survivors, and they are silent witnesses. They represent not only the lost communities of Czechoslovakia, all those who perished in the Shoah, but they also can be used, we have used them in our congregation for ritual purposes. Over the past couple of years, we have had B'nai Mitzvah read from this scroll. So it has been used for celebration. And so often when we bring young people through who are coming for synagogue tours, or if you've heard about the student-to-student program through the JCRC, they often present here. Many teachers want us to show the Holocaust scroll and have the students learn about it. On each of the Torah scrolls, there's an identity plaque on there, which just lets us know and lets other people know that this is a scroll. And throughout the world, they have identified, or they're trying to figure out where they've given them all now, which is kind of interesting that they've lost track of some of them. But on their website, you can find over 508. For some reason, they don't have hours listed. I just sent it to them today with the number so that they could put that. But there are over 1,000 scrolls that are out around the world. And so Rabbi Grolman, with a family who came to him who had learned about this program, did what someone made a donation to help make it possible. And this scroll arrived here at United Hebrew, and it has been a part of our congregation since 1980-ish. And it has stood as a member of this community, but also as a representative, as a witness of those communities, those Jews who are no longer here. I often say to the kids, what stories, if that Torah scroll could talk, what it could share with us of the many occasions that perhaps in whatever synagogue it sat in, whatever ark, that what it saw, what it was able to, the life cycle events and all sorts of things that it was able to witness. And so tonight we honor this scroll, and tonight we will remember the community of Humana, Czechoslovakia, and recognize that even though they and so many were murdered, we are here today, and we continue to live, and we honor them by living our Jewish lives to their fullest and ensuring the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. And so we now continue as we welcome in Shabbat. We join together singing Lecha Dodi on page 138.
Lecha אותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. lecha אותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בוא נזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, ושמו תפארת ולתהילה. lecha אותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. lecha אותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מכל המרחה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, מעשה במחשבה תחילה. Stand up please, lecha אותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. lecha אותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, lecha אותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. lecha אותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. lecha אותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. lecha אותי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
We remain standing and continue on page 146 with Baruch Hu.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד. המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד.
And we continue reading together in the Hebrew on page 148. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil bein yom uvein laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. And at the top of page 151, we read together. as you taught Torah to those whose names I bear. Teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
We sing together Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malechuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated, and we'll join together on page 154 chanting Ve'ahavta, but as we are doing so, or if you're just listening, I call your attention to some of the footnotes on those two facing pages about Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantaham levanecha v'dibarta bam בשבתך בביתך וברכבך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
I want to point out one footnote that I was reading while chanting, the bottom of page 154, where it talks about how at the very end of Ve'ahavta, when you hear cantor often say emet, as we move into the next prayer, if you've been around a teenager, or maybe it's only the teenager that I live with, but sometimes after something is said, sometimes you'll hear truth or fact, sometimes right when they're speaking. So interesting that in Judaism, we did it first before it became part of. You've heard it? True. Yep. Truth. So see, we said it. Page 157. MS, the top of page, we read together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands, marching together. Page 158.
כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילו, עושה פלא, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש מלכותך ובניך, חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, צאלי פנו ואמרו, אדוני ימנו לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילו. עושה פלא ונאמה כפתח, אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה, אדוני גאל ישראל. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש.
And we turn to page 160 in our prayer books as we come to Hashkivenu, as the sun begins to set and we prepare for the evening and prepare for sleep. We ask God to shelter us with peace.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Ve'hamidenu shomerenu shelter of your peace, O God. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. Lehamidenu shomerenu Elohim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and shame. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom. Ve'hamidenu shomerenu
And we turn in our prayer books to page 164 as we prepare ourselves for the Amidah. If you are able, I please ask you to please rise.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 166. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chaste Avot Veimahot, Umevii Geula Livnei Vneihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer, Umoshia, Umagen, Baruch Ata Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Page 168. Ata Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol ata rav lehoshia, Mohorid hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol ברחמים רבים, זומך נופלים ורופא קוראים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מרח, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. Page 170. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. On the top of page 173, we join together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. On the top of page 177, we join together in a prayer of gratitude. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'eh lehodot. And for a prayer of peace, we join together in the English of page 178. Grant abundant peace to Israel, your people, forever, for you are the sovereign God of all peace. May it be pleasing to you to bless your people Israel in every season and moment with your peace. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael, ba'shalom. And although that prayer of peace speaks specifically about the people of Israel, that prayer goes out to all of the world. And still, in this moment, our thoughts turn to the state of Israel. And I shared this prayer written by our very own Eva Ashner. Thank you, Adonai, for granting Israel the courage, the strength, and the power to defend her borders and her people. May the country continue to flourish. May it never give up hatikva, the hope that the day will come when Israel will be at peace with her neighbors. And may Israel always exist as the homeland for the Jewish people, to which we all say, Amen. In this moment of the Amidah, some of the central prayers of our service, our thoughts also turn to those who might not be able to join us this evening or who might be here with us as well, who could use prayers of healing and health, whether of body, mind, or soul. If you are thinking of a loved one or perhaps even yourself who could use these prayers of strength and courage, I invite you to please rise in this moment. And together, I invite you to share their names so that our prayers may join together. Please be seated as we turn to page 371 and join in Mi Sheberach.
Berach Avoteinu Ekor Haberacha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Yisheberach Haberacha le'avoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
We truly wish those in need of healing a refuah shlema, a return to wholeness and health. And in this moment, we also turn our thoughts inward to our own personal prayers with a moment of silent meditation.
In the garden there's a tree planted by someone who only imagined me. What love, what vision. I marveled at the gift. No fruit should be sweeter than this. I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me. As my people went from land to land, something passed from hand to hand. And it isn't just the words and stories of the ancient lords and golden glories. It's the way we study, the book we study. It's the way we study, the way. I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me. I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me. Today my life is full of choice, because a young man raised his voice, because a young girl took a chance. I am freedom's inheritance. Years ago they crossed the sea, and they gave a life that's come to me. I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me. I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me. So in the garden, I'll plant a seed, a tree of life for you to read. The fruit will ripen in the sun. The words will sound when I am gone. These are the things I pass along, the fruit, the book, and the song. I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me. I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me. I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me.
Thank you. Good evening. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. I'm Helene Sherman, and I am a member of the board of, and I, oh, here.
No, you closer. Microphone.
Oh, sorry. Okay. You know who okay. I'm Helene, and, and I'm on the board of trustees for the temple, and here tonight to tell you about some of the activities. There's kind of a feedback, so I'll go back over like that. Now, can't win, right? Exactly. And so here are some activities that are coming up at the temple. Tomorrow morning, there will be a self-guided Torah study beginning at 9 o'clock in the morning in the chapel. There will also be confirmation Shabbat services at 9:30 in the Millstone Sanctuary and on live stream. Upcoming events for Shavuos. First, there is a monument dedication service at United Hebrew Cemetery tomorrow at 1 o'clock Remember their names.
Should I stand back?
Sunday, like I said, Sunday. Forget what day it is sometimes. I should know. Okay. Also, an intergenerational game night on Wednesday, May 24th at 6 o'clock. And that first thing was at Sunday, remember the cemetery. 6 o'clock in Kaplansky Center. There are several opportunities for Shavuos beginning on Thursday, May 25th. At 6:30, there will be a Voices of UH discussion group discussing what's a mitzvah. At 7:30, there'll be Erev Shavuos service with Yisker. At 8:30, Shavuos Oneg. And lastly, at 9 o'clock, late night, Shavuos study session with Rabbi David Reinhardt. And on Friday, May 26th, Shavuos Sabbath service at 6 o'clock. Also, save the date for the UH Adults Only fundraiser on Saturday, August 26th. At Camp UH, you can play the adult way, which is having an open bar, that's adult, dinner buffet, color wars, a craft table, whiskey tasting, games, photo booths, s'mores, prizes, and more. So look out for early bird pricing. For information on additional upcoming classes and programs, please visit the website, the UH website. And thank you, as always, to our tech team for making it possible for all of us to be together virtually tonight. Please check our website or call the office for the gift shop. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
And so next Shabbat is also special because it will be the final Shabbat that our Shinshin from this year, Shinshinit Inbar Bachar, will be with United Hebrew. And she'll be giving her final Devar Israel next week on Shabbat. And I was told that in honor, I'll say of Inbar as well, but of Shavuot, we will have an ice cream truck, dairy, following the service as for an oneg next Shabbat as well. And so we hope you'll come to celebrate Shavuot as well as Inbar, who has truly done a wonderful, wonderful job bringing Israel to United Hebrew this whole year. And yet, this evening, this Shabbat, we also have some more things to celebrate because it is this Shabbat that we celebrate our anniversaries. And we have 3 anniversaries that were given to us on these slips of paper. I want to mention because I just found this amazing. They are on the 25th, 26th, and 27th, though we're going to do them out of order. Because first, we have Susie and Mark Weber, who are celebrating 27 years on May 26th.
Stay standing, you kids. Gail and Phil Kramer, I'll see you a few more years. 44th anniversary. Where'd it go?
You can see Gail's spirit right
Of course.
now. And celebrating 48 years, Susan and Sandy Becker.
And were there any other anniversaries that we happened to miss?
All right, Wallaces.
The Wallaces.
David and
Oh,
Melissa.
the Wallaces.
23 years.
Anyone else in May, an anniversary?
Anybody want one?
All right, the Walls. How many? 18
years. High.
Wonderful Jewish
high
number.
year.
Amazing. As we celebrate all of these anniversaries, Adam, you could stand next to your dad and just pretend to be your mom. You're like half of her, so. Eternal One, source and shelter, light and truth, bless these couples who celebrate a wedding anniversary this month with simplicity, with the simplicity and the splendor of the love that binds two together. Their gentleness and the grandeur, the hope and the faith, the trust and the forgiveness as they continue their lives together.
Bless them with continued abundance, with health, with joy, with good fortune, and a home filled with the blessings of Torah and the beauty of mitzvot.
love, a gift, a blessing, a legacy, an inheritance. May it continue to shine throughout your days, and may it continue to radiate throughout your years. May it continue to guide you and shelter you with the brilliance and the blessings from God's Sukkot Shalom, God's tabernacle of peace, all the days of your lives. And we say together as a congregation, Amen.
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 Amen. You all may be seated.
No, we ask everybody to
Oh,
rise.
I'm sorry. Everybody, we should rise. My apologies, because we have a blessing for the Omer. This will be our final Shabbat of counting the Omer, which can be found on page 570. And on page 570, we join together in our blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. Hayom arba'a v'arba'im yom shehem shisha shavuot u'shnei yamim la'omer. Today is 44 days, which is 6 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. And now, as we move to conclude our service, we turn to page 586 for Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu L'Shabeach la'adon ha'kol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא זמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגוררנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 591, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Turn to page 597. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. This week, our heartfelt condolences go out to the family and loved ones of Richard Black, Henry Krause, and Eleanor Silberg. We also hold in our hearts those who have died just in the past month, as we are in the period of Shloshim, for Marcia Arkey, Samuel J. Bro, Danny Goldsmith, Ruth Gorman, and Michael Barry Siegel. We add to these names those who have died at this time in years past, as we remember the yahrzeit of Revetta V. All, Gertrude Balin, Yetta Barg, Max Barnholtz, Isidore B. Bielenson, Ida Irene Bernstein, Theodore Bernstein, Marcella Breimer, Bess Broder, Gertrude Brodsky, Aubie A. Brodsky, Nathan Cohen, the Jewish community of Humana, Czechoslovakia, Richard Kahn, Rick Deloge, Frank Dubman, Libby G. Eckstein, Sherlock Feldman, Esther Ruth Fishgall, Leonie L. Frankel, Max Freiberger, Ada Grossberg Friedman, Joseph Giddon, Herman Glick, Mark D. Goodman, Earl Gottschalk, Arnold Gralnick, Sophia Greenblatt, Eli E. Harris, Leopold Isaac, Sidney Kiner, Harold M. Clayman, Tilly Klein, Ida Kopman, Charles Kreiser, Alan Cray, Meyer Mike Levin, Charlene Blumberg Levin, Arlene Levy, Bertie Mossinger Lewis, Dr. Norman H. Liebschutz, William Loomstein, Peter Lurie, Dolly Mandel, Philip B. Mann, Ruth H. Melnick, Louis Meyer, Isidore E. Millstone, Samuel Nieberg, Samuel Pian, Barbara Barnett Platzer, Eileen Pollock, Ruth Siegel Predikman, Florence Reinfeld, Samuel S. Rodenberg, Louis Rosenberg, Louis Rosenblatt, Shirley Ross, Ruby Stranko, Charles Sinofsky, Joseph Satz, Sadie Schwartz, Nathan Silverman, Morton D. Silverstein, Walter J. Simon, Israel Sinkoff, Janet Green Sohn, Jack Spiewak, Frank Spielberg, William A. Stoller, Lily E. Strauss, Abraham H. Tamarkin, Myra Rafi Toffel, Morris David Weiner, Harriet Weintraub, Anna J. Wolf, Maury Wolkowitz, and Lillian Zabrek. If one of these loved ones is yours, we invite you to rise so that we may recognize their memory. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. And now I invite all of us to rise as one community, standing with our mourners, as we join together in the Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 598. Yit Gedal Viet Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divrach Yirteh V'yamlich Malchuteh, B'chayechon Uvyomechon Uvchaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, B'agalah Vizman Kariv V'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mivarach Le'olam Olomei Maya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yithalal Shemei Dekudisha B'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiram be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who brings peace bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all who mourn, to which we say, Amen. We also would like to thank Harvey Altman for sponsoring our Nosh this evening in memory of Rita Lachman. And it's so wonderful always to come together to celebrate, because that celebration is part of what makes the world whole, makes the world a little bit more shalom. And so we end with a prayer, a song of peace.
Ose shalom im romav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru, amen. Ose shalom im romav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru, amen. Ose shalom im romav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru, amen. Ose shalom im romav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al Aleinu ve'almo ve'almo Israel ve'yimeru Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.